Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking about all the books I want to read for the month of August. Hi guys, so you might have noticed that I skipped out on a month with my July TBR. I actually did film it, but I didn't have time to get it up. In fact, I've got a bit of a backlog of videos that I'm currently still trying to get up for you guys. Yeah, unfortunately I didn't get it up. So we are starting afresh with August. As you can see, let's get it in shot here a little bit. It's quite a tall TBR, but I do have 2 readathons that I want to complete in the month of August. Do I think I'm going to get to all these books again? Probably no, but I'm a bit of a mood reader as well, and I like to be ambitious. I like to have a selection of books to choose from that month. This is what we're going with. This month I have 17 books that I would like to get to, and some of these are audiobooks, and I find audiobooks very easy to get to because I walk my dogs almost every day, if not every day, and I drive almost every single day, and then with cleaning and other tasks that I'm doing, I like to listen to an audiobook at the same time. It's very easy for me to have it on the background, so I do tend to go through many audiobooks. However, this month, apart from audiobooks, and apart from 2, I think, all of them are physical books, which I really like. The first readathon we're going to talk about is the Magical Readathon. And for this readathon, this is hosted over at the Book Roast, and she has videos and everything about how you can get involved and how you can choose your character and how you can become whatever profession you want to be and the whole story. It's fantastic. And I decided that I was going to be an air earthling because, you know, the wings and I get to fly. And I decided that I'm going to become a beast master, which basically means that I take care of creatures, like care of magical creatures, I'm guessing. So for this, I have 7 prompts that I have to read. And also then on top of that, we have to complete a quest or a challenge. I say have to, obviously that's a very loose term. And that is the Impling Challenge. And with the Impling Challenge, you have to complete a circle by following all the prompts in order. And you can do this with 1 or 2 books. And for me, I couldn't really get it with the 1 book, so the 2 books I will be doing. Right, the Magical Readathon prompts for becoming a Beast Master is you have to get a Q in Elemental Studies. And this is a book with Earth in the title. And for this, I found a book at my local library, and I found it on BorrowBox, and that is Earth Heroes by Lily Dew? I'm so sorry, I am not great with pronouncing names all the time. I think this is a really important book. I've actually just started it and I found it really interesting. It's basically talking about global warming and what people are doing all around the world to save our planet. It's actually fascinating. Obviously for most of us, global warming and climate change and all of that is such a big issue in our lives, and it's something we're trying to fight against, or not even fight against, but to fix and solve. And this book basically shows us all people that we know about, like Greta Thunberg and Sir David Attenborough and people like that, but also people we didn't know as well behind the scenes that are doing things, quite amazing things, to help to save our planet. And I think this is fascinating, and I think it's probably a book that everyone needs to read, to be honest. And that is number 1 on my TBR. The next book is a pet pick. It's supposed to be a pet pick. I didn't actually leave my pets pick this book, but I know in their heart of hearts that they want me to read this book. You know, I know that deep down they want me to read this book and that they're okay with it. And for this book, I'm going to read The Hobbit by JRR Tolkien. This is a book I've wanted to read for a while. I've actually never read any of the Lord of the Rings, and that is something I want to change this year. There's 2 things I want to do this year, actually. And one I only kind of thought of like literally a few days ago, and it was only brought to my attention, and that is that I've never watched any of the Indiana Jones movies, and I really want to do that. That's one thing I want to do, and then the next thing is I want to read The Lord of the Rings, and I'm going to start with The Hobbit. This is actually a library book. It's one that I definitely want to get to, and that is why I know that in their heart of hearts, Oscar, Elka, and Lola would be absolutely fine, in fact delighted, for me to read this book. Do you know, I've actually got more ebooks than I thought because of my library. But anyway. Okay, so the Earth Heroes is for my ordinary in elemental studies. Next, I needed a distinguished in animal studies. So that means I have to do 3 different prompts to get distinguished, because it goes from ordinary, qualified, distinguished. So for my ordinary in animal studies was my pet pick, which was The Hobbit. My next one for qualified in animal studies is a debut book. So the debut book I have chosen is The Unicorn Quest by Kamilla Benko. This was another library pick on BarBox, and it just sounded really interesting. It sounded a little bit magical. It's middle grade, and I like to throw a few middle grade in there. I think I've only 2, possibly 3 middle grade this month, and this one I really wanted to throw in. I thought it was really cute and really magical. For my distinguished in animal studies, I have to read a book in 2 days, and for the book I've chosen for this is The Whispers of Wilderwood Hall by Carole Mathews. And yeah, this is kind of a school vibe. It's in a Scotland. And it just says that after leaving her friends to move to a crumbling Scottish mansion, Ellis is overcome by anxiety and loneliness. Then she hears whispers in the walls and finds herself whisked back to 1912. I think this is really cool, and it'll be a really interesting book, I think, for the month. Also, it's like, how many pages? 255. I think I can read that in 2 days for sure if I, sit down, knuckle down to it. For my next subject, I need an ordinary in alchemy, and for this I have to read the first in a series, and for this it is Harry Potter season, and I will be listening to Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and I will be kind of reading them again in order. Last year I just read them and I watched the movies. I only read the last Order of the Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince and Deathly Hallows, and that is because I had never actually finished the series. So I've read the first 4 books over and over, and I never actually read the last 3 books. I had read half of the Order of the Phoenix, and that's about as far as I got, and I thought, it's my year last year, so I read them, and yeah, just wow. If you haven't read them as an adult, you still need to read them. Like, you are missing out. But anyway, so yeah, this year, in fact, I'm actually listening to them in audiobook, and I'm loving it. I just started Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, and it is narrated by Stephen Fry. I was going to say Stephen King there. Could you imagine? No, Stephen Fry. And yeah, I'm just loving it at the moment. I'm literally about 3 hours in or something like that. Loving it. You don't have to read these in order, by the way, but you do have to read them. Like, for example, if I didn't read my first 2 books and only read this is the Owen Alchemy, that's fine. But if the 3 books, if you only read the 3rd book and you don't read the first 2 books, then the 3rd book doesn't count, because you have to read the first 2 books in order to complete your subject. Yeah, a lot of hand movements today, I'm just realizing. Next, I have to get a Q in restoration, and for this I need to complete 2 prompts. So the first one is start a book before bed. Honestly, I can double up on this prompt, I know that, but I have decided to choose a book for every prompt, and then if I double up, then I've still completed it, but So the book I have chosen for this is one that I'm very excited for. It's a very much anticipated read. I wonder if you can guess what it is just by the cover. And it, of course, is YellowFace by R.F. Kuang, or Rebecca F. Kuang. And I'm very excited about this book. This book, apparently, it's about two authors, and one of them is really successful and the other one is not so successful at all. The one who's not so successful is very jealous, and when the successful author unexpectedly passes away, she steals the other author's manuscript, publishes it as herself or as her own, and kind of goes from there. Apparently she's not really a likable person, and also apparently there's two different cultures here, because the successful author was Asian and the unsuccessful author was Caucasian, I think, or something, I'm not sure. And apparently it kind of just, you can probably hear my dogs playing in the background, so apologies for that. But apparently there's a lot of, talk on different cultures and things like that. And also apparently there's a lot of, as in she gets kind of like questioned about how she's suddenly so good. One second. Sorry, I'm back now. They were just playing. So also it's commentary, like people are confused about how she can write so well all of a sudden, and how she writes so well about Asian culture when she's not Asian herself. I'm just really interested to read this. So yeah, the final book I have, or the final prompt I have for my to become a Beastmaster is to read a book in a different spot each time. Again, I could double up on this, with another book. But like I said, I'm choosing a book for each prompt and we'll just see how we go with it. And for this prompt, I chose The Switch by Beth Leary. I have read two of Beth Leary's books now. I have read The No-Show and I've read The Flat Share. And both of them are very interesting kind of ideas and, storylines and all that kind of stuff. So I am excited to read this. And this is also apparently about kind of two old age pensioners that, kind of get into things and get into hijinks. I don't know the words. But apparently they just have lots of adventures and stuff and switch houses and things. I'm just really excited to check this out. It's been on my list for a little bit. And I do have another book by her that I have to read as well, which is The Road Trip. I have that on ebook, but I'm going to go with this one first. Next in the Magical Readathon, we have the Impling Challenge. If you notice me looking down, it's because I have my notes, I can't remember everything. So we have the Impling Challenge, and basically, I'll see if I can put a kind of a diagram or something here, but it is a challenge where you kind of join up the dots on it, basically. And you do this by reading prompts that kind of follow along in a line to connect together. So the first one is, I've got to figure out where these both lie now within the challenge. So one letter, okay. So this book is my first pick for it. Okay, so this book covers, basically the prompts are between 400 and 450 pages, one letter appears twice, released this year or last year, blue on the cover, start at night, and read from this author before. So the first book I'm going to start with is Happy Place by Emily Henry, another anticipated read that I wanted to get to back in June, but unfortunately life happens, such is life, and I didn't get to it. So this follows the prompt. One letter appears twice, which is the A in Happy Place. Released this year or last year, released this year, blue on the cover, you see that here. I start at night, and then I didn't read from this author before. I know, crazy, okay? I know, everyone's read from this author before, but me. and then the next is 400, between 400 and 450 pages, and this is 385 pages. So this will be my first one covering all those middle prompts. And then to join on to it, I'll put this here, is Happiness for Beginners by Carole Mathews. Again, I started this like the first literal chapter. I think I'm on page 5 or something. Wait now, let's see. Oh no, I'm on chapter 5, but I'm on page 23. I started this in June and I loved it from the beginning, and I'm really happy to actually get through this and to finish this. But this is going to join up with the others. So start at night, which I'm going to do. Read from this author before. Yes, I've read many books from this author before. I really love this author. Between 400 and 450 pages, and it is 443 pages. And then one letter appears twice. So that is the P in happiness there. And yeah, that means they join up together. So these, which is quite satisfying that they're the same size, are my books for the Impling Challenge. And this is a library book, and this is my own. So that is the magical readathon. I do have extra credit prompts that I can do if I want to get distinction and everything. But honestly, since I'm doing the second readathon, we both know this isn't going to happen. So I've decided just to leave it and move on. Now, the next readathon is the back to school readathon, and this is with Liv's Library, and again, I'll leave the links below. And with this, every school or every prompt is for a different subject in school. So the first prompt is for English, and that is in an academic setting. And of course, for this, I chose Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling. To be honest, that could possibly change if I've already listened to it in that time, because it is an audiobook, and sometimes if I get through them quickly, then I'll just listen to the next one. So it could be a different Harry Potter, but Harry Potter and something will be my academic setting for the English subject. The next subject is maths, and this is with a number on the cover. Not sure if this is cheating, but it's a number in a word. So, you know, actually, no, I'm thinking of Liv's Library now. I'm pretty sure she picked the Atlas 6 for this. And I'm going to pick Ready Player One by Ernest, Cline. My boyfriend's actually asked me to read this because I've had it in my collection for a long time, really wanted to read it, but he really wants to watch the movie, and I don't want to watch the movie because I haven't read it yet, and I only really watch movies after I've read the books. I don't like it to do it the other way around. Sometimes I will if I have to, like if I've seen the movie already and then like, you know, I didn't realize there was a book, then I will. Like for example, Bridget Jones' Diary. I read the first book this year, but I've seen the movie a million times. So that's different. But in general, if I know there's a book, I have to read the book first. It's who I am as a person. Next is PE, so a book with an activity. And for this one, I'm actually going to be reading the same book as Liv. And that is The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. I actually had this in my collection, and it works out perfectly because it's to do with American football, I think. And I have never read anything from Sarah Adams yet, so I am actually really excited to check this one out. The next one is a book with a recipe in it, and for this I chose You Had Me at Halloumi by Ginger Jones. And this one just sounds really interesting, and obviously it's about food, so I'm assuming there's a recipe in there somewhere. If not, then I have a backup, so it's okay, I have a backup. But yeah, I will be listening to You Had Me at Halloumi as well, so I'm excited to check that one out. Apparently it's set in like Cyprus, so I'm all about those vibes, especially at the end of August, and we are actually going away for quite a few trips actually towards the end of the year, but our actual like holiday is going to be in September, the middle of September. We are going to España, we're going to Barcelona. Well, we're going to the UK first, then we're going to Barcelona, and then we're going to Bilbao and the north of Spain, and I'm super excited for those vibes. So You Had Me at Halloumi just seems like those summer vibes right before I'm going to get me all excited and in the mood. So yeah. The next one is science, and that's with a sun, moon, or star on the cover. Is this a stretch that I'm going to show you right now? I mean, it's definitely there though, you know, it's definitely there. And I'm going to pick Book Lovers by Emily Henry. And can you see it? I mean, it's there, you know, it's like a sunset, you know. So it's not that whole magical with all the stars and the moon and stuff on the book, but it definitely counts, and that is why I'm reading Book Lovers by Emily Henry. For social studies, I'm going to read Multiple Timelines, and for that book, I'm actually going to read probably an unusual choice, but I already know this book, as in I read it as a child, so I already know. And this is Heartland, and this is Coming Home, and I do know that it does feature a multiple timeline because we find out what happened, like when you first open the book, it kind of brings you to where she is in hospital, and you find out what happened, you know, in the past and things like that. And to me, that counts as a multiple timeline. So I count it. And the final prompt for the Back to School Readathon is art, and for that it's to read a manga, graphic novel, or a comic. And I've chosen Garlic and the Vampire. And even though there are two more of the Tea Dragon Society, I've read the first two, but there are two more of that, I really wanted to get those kind of vibes as well, those autumn, fall vibes. Because even though I've got the holiday vibes, you know, from going on holiday, autumn is just the most magical, amazing time of year, and I want to lean into that as well. And I'm so looking forward to this autumn time. Yeah, so that is mostly my TBR, I want to say. I do have two add-ons. I'm just looking at my laptop right here. But I do have two add-ons that have nothing to do with the readathons. I just want to finish them up, and one of them is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I'm loving this book. I'm about halfway through this book now, and I absolutely love it. It is a bit of a heavier book, I would say, in the sense there's so much going on. I mean, it's so intriguing. I could sit there and read for hours and hours, but when I don't have time, it's a little bit off-putting because I know I'm going to get into it and then I'm going to have to stop reading it, and then when I come home from work, I come home quite late, as you know, and sometimes I might read at like 11, 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock maybe, for like a half an hour before I go to bed or something like that. But it's so heavy to get into when you're like kind of tired, that I kind of put it off a little bit sometimes. But I am loving it. I love the characters. I love the personalities of the dragons. I love it all, to be honest. So that one I definitely will be finishing off. And then this is my last one, which is The Cake Shop in the Garden by Carole Mathews. I did say in another video, I see the thing is, some of the videos that I filmed, like my July TBR, I won't be posting them. So I kind of forgot if I've said in a video that you're going to see. But I did actually start the second book of this by accident around Christmas time, because the second book is, I can't remember the name of it now, but I actually own it, and it is the Christmas... Okay, I can't remember the name of it. Sorry, there's a long list of books here, and I can't remember the name of it. But I did start it, and it was only when I was like a few chapters in, I realised, oh, this is actually a sequel. There's a whole book before it. And then I found this in the library, and I really wanted to read it. Now, to be honest, I kind of forgot I had it, which is not a good thing, but I have updated it. And I did read some of it already. I can't remember how far in I am, so I'm just going to have to like run through it and kind of maybe catch up to where I was before, and then read this and bring it back to my library as well. And I think at that stage, oh no, I have one more book from my library that I'll have to read then, which is The Hatmakers something or other. I'm going to put a picture here. But yeah, oh, and I have one more as well. Okay, I have one more that I did really want to read. I could just leave this for my actual holiday though, when I'm sitting on the beach, because it does give those vibes. So at worst case scenario, that is what I'll do. However, I really want to read this, and I really want to read it before the end of summer, even though in my head summer is kind of over. I think I've said this many times before, but when I was growing up, the autumn months were August, September, October, and in my head, it's still kind of that way. So August for me is like a transition month now, because I'm still bringing in those summer vibes, but the autumn vibes are also coming in. So it's kind of a transition month where I allow myself to indulge in both, we'll say, because I don't know, in my head I'm very moody, I was gonna say, but I love the seasons. Like, you know, I love the cottagecore in the spring. I love the bright colors, and the neons and all that kind of stuff of the summer and those summer vibes. And then autumn, and then winter and Christmas. I love it all, and I'm sure I'm not the only one out there. So it was hard for me to change my months, but they've become transition months now. Like May in my head still isn't spring. It's just not. It's like summer. But it's the transition month of cottagecore into summer, and now I kind of like the fact that I have transition months. You know, I have that whole transition-y vibe. Like November now is the transition month between fall and I was going to say autumn and winter, and then February is a transition month between winter and spring. And yeah, so leave me a comment below if you like that, or if it's something you think you would do too. But for me, it's just, it makes the most sense in my head, you know. And it's like, then I get 2 full-on months of each month, and then the other one's like a transition month, which I love. Okay, so the book I'm talking about is A Summer at the Kindness Cafe by Victoria Walters, and I really want to read this. And I actually picked up another book from her recently, and I didn't even realize it. And when I saw the author, I was like, oh, I have a book from her. One second, I'm gonna have a look for it. Oh. And it was staring right at me the entire time. This is actually a Christmas book, and I got a bookmark with it as well. I got it in thrift store. I do have to do a haul. I do have another haul coming from you, and then I have another one I think that I have to do after that. But this one I got in the thrift shop, and it's Dreams Come True at Glendale Hall. Again, this is another Scottish one, I believe. You know, it might be pretty cool to go to Scotland for the weekend and just like read Scottish books, or books based in Scotland. That could be kind of cool. But yeah, I picked up this book, and I think it's like a Christmassy book. You know, from the vibes here, I'm assuming. Oh yeah, so it's centered around Christmas and New Year. And I don't know why I'm surprised. I've already read the back of this, but for some reason I forget things quite easily. Which is great when you're a booktuber, by the way, you know, to have a bad memory. I'm joking, but sometimes you do forget things when you have so many different books and things like that. And yeah, I'm excited to, apparently she does all seasons, summer and Christmas as well. We're just going to call this an alternate. We're going to see what's, you know, if I can include it or what mood I'm in. If I include it, fab. We're supposed to get a heat wave actually next week for like 7 days at least. So I could sit outside and read this, you know, or even go to a cafe because I live near beaches. Like go to a beach cafe and read it. That'd be kind of cool. Or else, if that doesn't happen, because it is like 500 pages, 439 pages, then I'm going to count it as one of my summer reads and take it with me. I'll do it, although I do have a couple of books I'm super excited to take with me on my holidays, but they're more fall vibes for sure. But yeah, I'm super excited about those, and I can't wait to tell you all about them. So there you have it. That is my book list for August. Am I going to get through them all? Like I always say, probably not. But I do have 17 books to choose from. Actually, probably even more, because I don't even know if they're included in this list, the Summer at the Kindness Cafe. So maybe it's 18 or 19. I don't know. I'm having a look here. But yeah, I can't see this one. So 18 possibly books to choose from. And I do know I'm going to get to the most of them, but it's unlikely to get to all of them. And once I don't get to, we'll just be moved on to my September TBR. Thankfully, there are many more months on the way, and we can read those books then. There's always another month. Leave me a comment below, let me know what you're reading, let me know what's on your TBR, let me know if you've read any these books, what you think of them, are they worth reading, should I be excited for any of them, and please no spoilers, please. But yeah, let me know if I should be like really buzzing for a book. I'm excited for them anyway, but it would make me more excited if you read it and you loved it. But if you didn't like it, that's okay too. Let me know that too, because I'd be interested in that as well. And yeah, I'm going to definitely do at least one vlog this month, but possibly two, and we'll see how I get on with these books. I'll talk to you later. Bye guys.